thank you all for showing up. I hope everyone's having a good morning so far. Last year, we hosted a panel about how to optimize your labor and increase your sales using robotics. But this year, we wanted to pass that over to one of your own. We wanted to take that a step further, and with that, we wanted to introduce you to our seller success stories, Mastering Trading Card Automation for Growth. My name is Tim Traver. I'll be the host, and we're excited to have partnered with GAMA and Bryan Salerno at Jersey's Cards and Comics to show you how adding automation to your store's workflow can accelerate your growth. Now, real quick, as mentioned previously, my name is Tim Traver. I'm sure I've had a chance to speak with some of you in some capacity over the last 7 years at this company. If not, let's change that this week. I'll be at the booth today and tomorrow. I'm currently the sales manager at TCG Player in Roca, where I get to work alongside our business development lead, Ryan Hudson. Now, if you haven't talked to me, I'm sure you have heard from him at some point in your time. Also, I'm an avid video game collector, and I was in recovery from an almost 15 years addiction from a drug called World of Warcraft. And I relapsed last fall, unfortunately. So, yeah, the war within got me pretty good.
Get better.
Yeah. All right, before we kick this bad boy off, I wanted to do a brief recap about how great of a year 2024 was for Roka. You sellers are the reason that we do this, and are the reason why we had 267 million cards sorted through your machines in 2024. Alongside that, we got more machines into our sellers' hands as the Roka Max entered full production. We also hosted our first ever Roka webinar last fall. We introduced Disney Lorcana to our catalog at last GAMA, and we brought you the Pack and Lot Creator, making it easier for you to sort and digitize your bulk to create repackaged packs or lots for sale. I'll be back at the end to close this out, but now it's time for the reason you all are here. I would like to introduce a good friend and the star of the hour, Bryan Salerno. Bryan is, yes, yeah, give it up for Bryan. He deserves it. Bryan is the owner of Jersey's Cards and Comics. He's an amazing seller that has truly embraced automation, and he is very generous with his time today. He will come up and give us his unvarnished and unsponsored opinions and discuss how he's automated his workflows with Roka. Take it away, Bryan.
Thanks, Tim. All right. Well, good morning, and I just wanted to welcome everyone here. You had an opportunity to go to any other place, and you chose here, so thanks for that. I know 10 o'clock is not necessarily early, but with game night and this being the last leg of it, I can imagine you're pretty tired. So thanks for showing up here. If you find out partway through this is not for you, you find as other people say, you can feel free to leave. I promise my feelings won't get hurt. I won't cry openly. Is there a code? Is there a second code?
No.
No, they don't do it? Oh, all right. Well, okay. What's that?
Somebody will come in
And shout it out. Okay, I tell you what, if you leave early, you meet me afterwards, I'll get you the second code for $2 a number. I'm running a special, $5 for all 4 numbers, and for an additional $1, I'll make sure they're in the right order for you. So if you, I'm just, I might be, I'm on camera. I was just kidding. Or as you might hear at my house, kids, I'm just kidding. Please stop crying. Don't tell your mom. Yeah, you guys put me up here, so this is on you. All right, so yeah, I'm going to try to keep this short. I did this one time in the hotel last night, and it was too long, and I said, is that okay? And Tim, to his misfortune, said yes, so here we are. All right. So look, when I told my son that we had robots in the workplace, he was pretty excited until he saw what looked like an oversized VHS player. How many people know what a VHS player is now? So most. Oh wow. Okay, that's speaking of age. If you don't know, DVD player, oversized DVD player, a little stretch. If not, okay, one. And if you don't know that, PlayStation 3. Okay, look, if you don't know that, congratulations. You've lived the most sheltered life. Or high school's going to be weird. Thank your parents for bringing you here. So. All right, now you might think that I'm here to sell you on TCG Player and the Roka machines, and I am. But it is not because they asked me to do that. It's because automation in the workplace has fundamentally changed how we work in my company. And I want to show you why embracing it is more than just an advantage, but it's a necessity in today's market. Industries evolve rapidly, and while it can be daunting, history shows us that it also creates new opportunities. How many people got in here on a horse and buggy? Anyone? Carriage? No. Right, cars. You either drove here or you flew in a big tube in the sky in a chariot, because that ended up replacing, horses. And yeah, timepieces. Anybody got a sundial? No. Timepieces replaced. I got a wristwatch, and even this is old-fashioned. I mean, this is like a bracelet with numbers on it, because we all check the time on our phones anymore. So the same thing is driving, a similar transformation is happening with automation. And I know that sometimes AI and robots can seem scary, but if it's a double-edged sword, please use the good side of the sword. Don't let it just be one way. So let me tell you how I got here. So it started in 1989. My father, I had braces, so he took me for ice cream and then got me a box of 1989 Score football. So 30 years, I don't know how many you've been there for the 30-year plus crowd, but I loved it, sorted it. He saw it as a way to connect with me. So we kept buying more and more sports cards. And then we had so many, it was like, what do we do? So we got a table at a flea market in Newport News, Virginia called the Flea Market. And then from there, we moved to a stall. And my father was just such a natural salesman that in 1994, we opened up our first location in Yorktown, Virginia. Now, he just wanted a dry bar where he could break even to give people a rest. And he saw that I wanted to do more. So he turned it over to me. He still ran one of our stores, but eventually we got 3 stores, an online presence, third party, a warehouse. We grew and grew. And in 2017, after a lot of skepticism, I finally added on a platform called TCG Player. I dragged my feet. I was like, they're going to take some of our money. And after we got on there, I was so wrong. I wish I'd gotten on there sooner. We finally started playing, and within weeks, we became a level 4 top-rated seller. And within a year, we amassed over 5,000 sales. Now, the next year, a robotics company reached out to me and said, hey, you're one of the fastest growing sellers on TCG Player, and you're a top 8 Magic seller. And top 8 is code for we were probably number 8. No one says top 8. It's like top 10, top 3. So we were 8, like I'm pretty sure, or he was lying. Either way, it felt great. I was pretty surprised. But so we didn't deliberate. I decided because of how long it took us with TCG Player, we adapted pretty early. Flash forward to today, we've processed over 400,000 transactions over 4 TCG Player accounts. And just to put that in perspective, our first year was about 5,700 transactions. We would have struggled to hit 100,000 transactions manually. Automation, for us, is what's made the difference. Now, I'm not bragging about like the number of locations, our age, or any of that, because there are some people in here who have much bigger locations. Some sellers have sold hundreds of thousands more, also with the robots as well. But I'm proud of what we've accomplished. But the point I'm going to try to make today is that it's showing how automation can amplify what you already do. Despite all we had built as a company, we couldn't get to where we were without automation. You don't need a massive team. You don't need hours to scale up. If you can combine the human expertise with automation, then that will unlock the efficiency and profitability without burning any of your people out. If you think of the Ballad of John Henry, it's, for those who don't know, this is the real recap, is they introduced a steam drill machine, and John Henry was like, I can beat this by myself. And they had a competition, and he won, and then he died. Now, there's more to it than that. It's packed with a lot of things, including stuff, including race and very, very poignant. But in this specific, the point I'm trying to make is that we don't need to overwork ourselves. We don't need to overwork our teams. And we don't need to work them to exhaustion to compete. The real key is finding the balance between your people and the technology. They do not have to be enemies. And here's the best part. Automation is not reserved for the biggest sellers. It's not reserved for your top sellers on TCG Player or big operations. Tools like Roka and platforms like TCG Player are accessible for businesses of all sizes. And in this, we'll cover productivity through automation, the machine's cost savings, a little bit of return on investment, and the human factor. And then one other part, which I didn't share with them, that I'll share with you, that I think is the most important part of all of this. So, daily operations. Am I on the right slide? Awesome. Okay, cool. All right, so what we do is we assess the stock on hand. We begin with new arrivals. We divide it by game system, and then we break them down further, and we categorize them and prioritize value to get them to the simplest form that fits the machine. So, look, a lot of this is going to be dense, and I don't mean dense like watching me try to play Yu-Gi-Oh! With any of my customers. I mean, like, there's going to be a lot of figures, maths. Maths, right? It's maths now. I've learned if you watch the keynote, it's mathematics, maths, not math. But if you have any questions, please feel free to save them for the end. Again, you can ask me afterwards, or if you have questions for any of the folks at TCG, just know that they can answer after, but especially they'll be at the booth 611, that you can feel free to ask them there as well. But, all right, so if you take just something as simple as Yu-Gi-Oh!, we break it down to rares, commons, and non-English, and then we break those down into a further category. So, for example, one of our categories will look like rare first edition, or rare unlimited, or limited. And then from there, we condition them. Because conditioning, it requires a human, as it's something that the robots can't do. Yet. Then the cards are sorted or sifted, and then sent to either our TCG Player online or to our stores, to the TCG Player kiosk. And then the initial structure of this was created by us before we had the machines. And then when the sorting machines came in, we started to just customize it so that we could work with the machines. Now, if we ever develop any kind of glut, like one game system, so for example, right now we have a problem that we have too many cards that need to be conditioned. I have to work on saying conditioned. I'm old school. I want to say graded, and I know that's a different thing. But they have to be conditioned. So what we'll do is we'll pull people from other game systems to break that bottleneck and then go through it from there. All right, so, click. I have big words written click so I can remember to click. All right. All right. Okay, so Roka has many features, including sifting, sorting, and pack building. I'll talk more about those in a bit. But what we've done is we've picked the features that work for us to just work through an endless sea of cards, because we take in so much stuff. We take in bulk, we buy huge collections, we buy individual cards. And the determinations on what happens begins and ends with us. We could do all of this without the machines, without the robots. Without us, the robots could not do any of this. That technology has yet to exist, so we're all fine. Brick and mortar is not dead, and we're not going to be replaced by machines. Okay, so let me talk now about the real part of it. It's the cost savings and revenue, because it's like, for simplicity of comparison, let's just say that it takes a human and a robot the same amount of time to do a sort or a sift. That is not the case, but I just want to make the numbers real simple. If you enhance the human speed so that it works the same way, at the initial cost of $25,000 for the robot, and that feels like a big number, right? Wait, it's lower now though, isn't it? Yes. What is it? 22,500. Okay, all right, so less than that. The numbers I have are based on higher numbers, so it's even going to be more than what I'm saying here. If you ran your robot like an employee, okay, 40 hours a day, let's say 52 weeks a year, the cost would come out for the robot at $12.19 per hour. So if your employee costs $15 an hour, and I know from some of you it costs more depending on where you live, that would save you $6,200 in labor costs. That's not including matching contributions or unemployment. That's not including workers' comp and so on. Let's say you ran it 7 days a week, 8 hours for each additional day. That would be a labor savings of $18,680, and this is not including overtime. Now, let's turn the sliders in the other direction, just for comparison's sake. Let's say you're paying the woefully federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour, and I'm not telling you how to run your business. I'm just going to tell you that you're putting yourself up for risk, because fast food places are paying more. You had better provide the most amazing workplace at that price, but do what works for you. If you did it that way, year one, yes, you would save over the cost of the machine. You would save just under $10,000. But in year two, the robot would be paid in full. The maintenance is $3,000 a year, and then you would save $12,080 each year at minimum wage. So our oldest machine, just for reference, is 5 years old, and it's still running. Actually, it's running better than it did when we first got it because they've worked on it and helped us upgrade it over time. Now, let's turn the sliders in the other direction. I mean, look, you could run it for 10 hours, 7 days. Let's pretend you could run it 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. You would save $37,000 in labor and after the first year, and then every year after that, $59,000. So those are unrealistic numbers, a bit on both sides. So for us, it's about $27,000 per year per machine after the first year is what we save. That's enough to buy a robot every single year after the first year. Realistically, like we've run out of Yu-Gi-Oh cards to sort, so for us it's closer to 54,000, but I'm not even talking about the money you generate from the stuff it produces. I'm talking about labor savings, and I'm not here to tell you to not get rid of people. I'm telling you to use them instead of replacing them, but don't get rid of your people. Use them instead of replacing them. Like, don't use your people other places. Part of the reason we have a glut is because it was working well. I moved them to another place. They got good there. And then when I needed more card sorters, I didn't want to pull them back, so we've hired some new folks. It's a good opportunity for you to grow your staff. All right. So, okay, labor side, income generated. Is it worth it? Okay, so it's a little difficult for me because I didn't record it separate to separate the robots from humans. But in terms of our numbers, they're generated in tandem. Our annual net sales minus fees, so this is after fees, before the machines was about $95,000 in sales per year. Our average since has been just under $248,000, almost $250,000, and that translates to a profit if you're going to go with a 40% margin. And I'm skewing more conservative because you can buy cards for 50% or sometimes less, depending on the cards. That is a profit of $38,000 a year transformed into $97,000 a year. So if you combine those in my company, we are saving / growing about 150 or so thousand every year because of the machines. We didn't have to get rid of people, we added people. So those numbers and the possibility of that is pretty hard to ignore. All right. So some of the features of the robot. So the ones we use is sift, which essentially pulls it up by price. So you just set a price point and it pulls everything over top of that. You can sort it in different ways. We use it to do set name or name and set, especially when a new set comes out. And they have a feature price sift that combines the two. So it pulls everything over a certain price point. We use 25 cents, and I feel validated, as other people have said the same, so I did no research, but that seems to be the agreed place, that over 25 cents, and then it'll sort it by, in our case usually, set the name. If you have to find out what works for you, if you're interested in getting cards quickly, sift through, put them out. If you want to get them sorted and put online, you can do that as well. If you don't know what to do, just follow your instincts and just track the data if you don't have it already. And then after a while, change it up, try something else, and then just see where it takes you and just follow those numbers. The more you keep track of it, the better you'll be, and then the more you'll know how to tailor the machines to your specific business. What we do with ours is we use it to deliver near mint cards to our brick and mortar TCG Player kiosks, and everything under we send to our TCG Player main. We're getting away from heavily played and damaged a bit. Not always, those are pretty tough. And we have a third category we call, I'll say crap on card. It's SOC. And we follow those under T, directly into trash. And so for inventory management, we use TCG Player. The machines create a CSV spreadsheet. We actually upload it through QuickList, not direct, because QuickList just has a lot of cool ways that we can add cards and do all kinds of things to tailor our spreadsheet if we need to do something different. Let's say someone forgot to designate it as foil. Boom, I can change them all to foil without having to figure out any of the numbers there. And as for pack creation, full disclosure, it can build packs and insert a certain number of rares. We have yet to use it, because in the terms of the cards below 25 cents, we have so much work, it's just not possible for us to get to it yet. I hope to get that to a point where we can do that. But there's a lot of things, especially I heard at one of the other seminars that with Pokemon nowadays, if you can build like, packs for $2, put in a decent rare in there, you're going to sell them all day long. That is hearsay, but I believe that to be true because the guy was way more pro and sold way more cards than even I did. So, all right, and so TCG inventory management, the benefit, I mean, look, it's the #1 online, that's like why we're all here, right? And so like, it has all the things you need, so you can, filter many categories: game system, condition, printing, language, rarity, and there's a picture for nearly every card, including cards that even aren't yet, pre-orders. So those exist. Moving a bit away from TCG Player and Roka, there are different methods for organizing your cards. Ask around because, for example, if you're WPN, you have to use something nicer in your store. But for us, what we do is we have card houses, 4x4. We use 2-piece 800 count boxes, and they work for us. We use a piece of tape and wet erase marker because what's in the box changes quickly, but dry erase wipes off at an accidental press. So we use that for us. But find out what works best for you. They have drawers, they have all kinds of systems. You'll find the one that works best for your time. That's what works for us. And it's uniform across our company, the way everything's filed and done, so we can transport from warehouse to store to store, and nobody has to resort or reorganize the cards. They can just file it into the cards that they already have. Okay, why I would choose TCG Player and Roka as top of the list. Now look, they put me up here. They let me run my mouth. I freaking love to talk. But I tell you what, look, there's plenty there's not plenty. There's some other card sorting systems out there. There's other places to post your card. I'm sure they're fine. I have nothing bad to say about them. I don't use them. The reason I use these is not because of the machines, which are awesome, but it's actually because of all of the people in the back row there. The people like in this place who are working with TCG Player, and to the person, every time I've had a chance to speak with anyone on the phone, it has been absolutely amazing. Those of you who've worked with them know exactly what I'm talking about. Roka, when I first joined them, they were awesome. They got sold. I was worried. They were awesome. They got sold again to TCG Player, but I wasn't worried because I have yet to have a bad experience. And when we joined in 2017, it was the first place that I felt treated the sellers the same way that the buyers had been treated for years. At some point, like, we became the enemy and we just kept losing every time there was a fraud case. We weren't believed. Now you have a solid reputation. You show that you take care of your customer. You escalate. That doesn't even need a phone call. You escalate and they're like, yeah, it looks like you're not a liar. You can have your money back. And they do stand up for us and they work with us. But if you look at what they do with Gap, they are really, really here to try to work with us. And these things are free because they're already making the money. So they're not trying to grift another dime off of our backs. If you're not sure on any of this, once you get in and try, I promise you, you just want to do more. We have 3 machines. We are not going back. And there has been some fixes and works with the last machine, but I am not at all hesitant. I'm not worried because they constantly work to make it better and better. And that's the real reason. It's the people. It's not the machinery. There's other machinery out there, but these people will take care of you. I've been with them for 7 years, 8 years. I'm going to be with them for as long as they continue to do this, and I don't see why they would ever stop. And even with them being picked up by eBay, nothing has changed. It has been just as good. So from the top down to the person, it's wonderful, and I've gone on way too long about that. I don't even know where our time is, but all right. So I had big words, click. I'm clicking. All right, closing thoughts. Bring it home, Bryan. All right, got it. All right, so look, when I first told my son that we had robots at work, yes, he was disappointed when he saw them, but I'm sure he had imagined something like out of science fiction or like a mechanical robot arm or something, maybe a humanoid something that was towering. But instead, he got a big boxing machine that looked like an oversized DVD player. But when I opened the lid and he saw what it could do, his disappointment dissipated and his interest was piqued and his curiosity was renewed. In the beginning, I too was amazed by, if you watch them, they're fascinating. But over time, I've gotten more excited about how it's helped our business grow, it's made our work smoother, and how it took sometimes overwhelming piles of unsorted cards and turn them into an efficient, profitable system. What once seemed unimpressive becomes an essential part of what we do. And so the lesson I want to leave with you today, because I've said a lot of words, is automation isn't about replacing people, it is about empowering them. It's about making the work they do go farther and farther than they could by themselves. If you've been listening, you realize that this isn't about TCG Player or Roka specifically. It's about staying ahead of the curve because it's about working smarter versus harder. It's about evolving to an industry before necessity forces you to try to keep up with what's going on, and it's coming. We didn't grow our business by working harder, we grew it by working better. The numbers prove it, and what's even better is that this kind of efficiency, this kind of success, again, is not reserved for those who are the biggest sellers. Anyone, any store, any seller can leverage automation to improve their workflow, scale their business, and for those of you who are owners, it can free up your time for the stuff that really matters. I've got 4 kids. I want to spend as much time with them as I can, and I love my employees, but a little less time with them than I have throughout the years. So, look, whether or not you decide to adopt automation today, or adapt to animation, whether or not you choose to go with Roka or not, the landscape is changing, and the businesses that will thrive are the ones that adapt before they're forced to. So get ahead of the curve. And with that, thank you very much for your time. I'm going to turn things over to someone who can speak more to the opportunities available for TCG Player and Roka. Everybody, please welcome back Tim Traver. Where are you at, Tim? Tim? And thank you for your time. Steal these away from here.
Perfect.
How's he gonna know when to play?
I wrote it on the screen.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Real quick, give it up for Bryan again. That was amazing. Yep. Yeah. What an amazing presentation. Like, I honestly don't know how I'm going to be able to follow that up at all. But yeah, I'm going to try to wrap up on Bryan's point about embracing automation. So real quick, to achieve automation in your store, as Bryan mentioned, we currently offer 2 solutions, our Roka Sorter and our Roka Max. Both master classes in their respective fields. Our Roka Sorter can process 1,000 cards in a single sort, while our Roka Max can process 3,000 cards in a single sort. Our Roka Sorter is 22,500, and then the Roka Max is 33,500. Both machines can sift, sort, and digitize your MTG, Pokemon, Lorcana, and the Roka Sorter also comes in a Yu-Gi-Oh version, as well as those cards are smaller than the standard sets. We do have some financing options that are available that can work within your budget, and I will touch on that in a moment. You may have heard this at our seller gathering, but also for those that weren't there, we are launching One Piece to our Roka catalog soon. Now sellers will be able to process their Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Disney or Lorcana, and One Piece on both of the Roka Sorter models, as well as in Scan and Identify, which will also be adding Lorcana as well. Following that announcement, and to help get a Roka machine in your hands at a cheaper price, we are offering a GAMA exclusive promotion. If you order a Roka Sorter by April 1st, 2025, you'll receive a $2,000 off of your Roka Sorter or Roka Max. This is our steepest discount that we have offered so far for a Roka, and we normally only run 1 discount per year, so if you're on the fence, now's a great time to take the jump. This is limited time and limited quantity, so make sure to get your order in while supplies last. If you would like to speak with a member of our team regarding Roka, follow this QR code, which will take you right to Ryan Hudson's calendar, who will gladly walk you through a demo and help answer any questions, including financing. Alternatively, you can reach out to Stacy. Where is Stacy at? Is she here? No. Okay, never mind. You won't reach out to Stacy. That's fine. But alternatively, reach out to me. Reach out to any of the people in the TCG Player jackets. We'll gather your information and make sure that you guys get a meeting with us. Also, we'll be on the show floor this afternoon and tomorrow in booth 611. So feel free to ask any questions and see the Roka in action. And then while we have our Roka sorting One Piece in the background and the QR code there, we've got time for questions for Bryan. As I'm sure you've all been patiently been waiting to ask, if you do have any Roka related questions, feel free to stop by the booth today and tomorrow, or grab us at the end. We'll be out in the hallway to answer any of those questions. So,
Say it's Bryan right now.
I'm sorry?
I'm listening for the sound.
Oh, no, just down there, on the video. Yes.
Bryan, can you run through your process again? Did you say that you condition before you sift?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so the question was, do we condition before we sift? The answer is usually yes. I found it to be easier that way because in terms of the process of sending cards to our stores, we try to keep them near mint, as close to that as possible. Sometimes maybe lightly played will sneak in there, and then everything else goes to our online platform. Just because we try to keep away from too much of the, this card's not lightly played, it's moderately played. There's like a lot less of that online, but when it's near mint or close enough, people are happy with it. When we get to a place sometimes where we just don't have enough conditioners then we'll sort it into price categories and then break that down into condition when they can get to it.
Because aren't you, in theory, conditioning a bunch of cards that will then be in bulk, right? If you condition before you...
Oh, I see. So actually, the one we use the price sift. So everything under 20, yes, we price sift. So it takes anything under 25 cents, puts it in a big lump. We call it our XX category. It started off with just me marking X's on the boxes. It's like, don't mess with these, they're not worth it. And then eventually just became our XX categories.
So if it's price sift, then condition.
It's condition and then price sift and then distributed to the stores. So we'll condition, for example, we'll have Pokemon reverse foils near mint, and they'll get price sifted through the machine and then sent to that specific place based on condition.
But when you get to this point, you have already sifted the price so that there is nothing below 25 cents, right?
No, yeah. So here, so what we'll do is we'll take Pokemon reverse
Two
foils.
sifts, right?
No. We'll take Pokemon reverse foils. We'll have them conditioned, and then we'll price sift them. So everything under 25 cents goes away, and then everything above that in near mint condition. And then we'll do the same with lightly played, and we'll do the same with moderately played. And here's the best part: like, you don't have to fill up the machine. Like, if you just do 10 cards, 100 cards, or you can fill it all the way up. It's roughly the same amount of time per card, just the lead time, but it's really not that long a wait. So.
Okay. Yeah. So
But just
for the 5-cent cards, you would be conditioning them and then throwing them away.
yeah.
Oh, I see. No, I see what you're saying about throwing them away. No, we do put them into a bulk place by condition.
Oh, you sort your bulk by condition.
Right. Because conditioning is pretty quick versus pricing it out and then running it back through a second time. So it depends on the person, right? Yeah. And that's the thing is you got to do what works best for you. If you find that it works better, and in fact, if you find it works better and faster, email me. Let me know, and I'll be like, yo, folks, we've been doing this wrong for like 5 years. What the heck's wrong with us? So the reason we went with cardboard because with the houses we could stack them, we could move them, and we went with single rows instead of shoe boxes because we can then move those and change those. Because as we sold through a bunch of cards, the biggest thing you find for those of you who sell a lot is that the cards want to fall over. You end up just eating up so much space. So by doing that system, it allowed us to move stuff across. And it allows us to wipe quickly, write the name of the range of sets that it's in, and go to the next thing. And so that's what we do across all of our places. So it's easily identifiable when you glance at it. Over there.
Would you have more than one sorting machine if you didn't have more than one location? So do you have like one per store, or would you have 2 in one store?
Oh, I got you. The question is whether or not we'd have more than one machine. If we had more, I would have more machines now probably. I mean, we're looking at maybe a 4th machine. It had nothing to do with the locations. The locations are a plus because they allow us another venue to sell the cards, and we actually sell them a little higher at the store level, just a little bit. And if someone goes to buy it online, so we free ship through our main site. We charge shipping from the store level because we have a little bit of a lower floor when it comes to what we sell at the store level. But yeah, yes, the answer is yes. Yes, over here.
Just to clarify, you do a manual sort based on rarity and all that stuff before you condition?
So rarity in the sense of rares and commons, like foil. So it depends on how TCG has it. So for Magic, it's foil and not foil. That's pretty much it because the robot will do the rarities. In Yu-Gi-Oh, it's rares and then commons and then, well, for all of them, there's also non-English. But the reason is because that's what the TCG player, has them broken down as. So that's why we do it that way.
I had two quick questions.
Sure.
Is there a general consensus as what the best repackaging for those boosters? Use cardboard, paper, do you have some sort of plastic?
Are you talking about for the pack building?
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we haven't done that yet. I did not ask last night when, what was the name of the
Mason.
yeah, he said something like 600,000 cards or so. So they do repacks. I might be confusing my sellers. The point is I don't know what they would do. So in the past when we've done something similar, I can tell you we've used team bags. We use little 1 pound square bags that we've stapled closed. The honest truth is, if it's hot, they don't care what it comes in because they just want to rip it open. So yeah, just whatever you want to dress it with, it works best for you. The last thing we used, so once upon a time machine, we took about 50 cards or 100 cards, put them back to back so faces were showing, and the rare was hidden in the middle. And we would advertise that there was a nicer rare, not something crazy because we weren't trying to do like a lottery thing, that you could get in there, but we would have like 100 or so packs. And we just keep building them that way. But that was weirdly before we had the machines. Now this looks like it'll be a lot easier when we get back to that.
Okay. And the second question is actually for Tim. Why the heck haven't you sponsored Bryan yet?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I know. I wish we did. Yeah.
No, look,
Bryan's great.
I know. That's just so weird to say, right? Okay, look, like they're this major company that my customers think is like run by like these really powerful, like crazy titans in suits or whatever. But for me, I wanted to give back. I mean, how do you get a gift for like the number one like leader in the online sales for single cards? But they have been so good to me. They've helped us generate so much money. And I mean, through the pandemic, for those of you who thought it was going to go away, first we were all really, really wrong. Like that worked out really good. But if it wasn't for them, there's a real chance we would not be here. So I am grateful for that to begin with, but I've never been treated so, I'm not kidding. If you've had good customer service, like these people are great. And those of you who've been here, I see heads nodding, you know what I'm talking about when you've talked to your rep. And some of my best buddies, Sarah, Sam, no offense to anybody else because they're all great, but those are the two I talk to the most. And we would be friends if they lived near me. No worries. All right, so one we did, first we did it online. This is before they had kiosks running the way it did. And we had established such a presence, I didn't want to lose that. So we have 3 stores, so we tied 2 to the other 2 stores. And then the last one was because for a time period, they were doing a thing called sort, which is currently in stasis. But because of that, we just sent the cards to them when that was running to that account specifically, so it didn't blend because we didn't have access to it. It was great because we didn't have to worry about customer service and all that, but yeah. And even with sort though, we did sift for them the cards beforehand above the price point they said, as to not fall behind on whatever line. If they roll that back out, we'll do the same thing. Yes, over there.
So I guess this is a kind of a question for both of you guys. So on your end, do you have any customer confusion with the multiple locations? And they see a card on your website and then go into the store to buy it, but it's not on your kiosks. And then for you, with so many stores kind of branching into multiple locations and that being a prevalent thing, does TCG Player have anything in the works for kind of an inventory system to support multi-location stores under one account?
We'll answer at the same time and just
Yeah,
the
totally.
piece out there. So for the most part, no, we do have, yes, we do have some of them that's online. They're like, hey, can you get this to a given store? And the answer is yes. The ones that are tied to the store directly, then of course, they can go there, pick it up. Those who buy online can't tell the difference. There's just a fee for one. But if they buy from what I call our main, then yeah, they'll be like, hey, can you send this to your store in Hampton? And it's like, we'll figure it out. Sometimes it's a little tricky because we have to mark them as being shipped. And so we'll tell them, hey, we're gonna port it over to that system so you can buy it there, and then they do it that way. Or, look, it's a plain white envelope or whatever. I know you live close, we'll mail it there, but here's our other two places, feel free to check them out. So, and yeah, and again, it's really more of a difference of condition. So if they're looking for near mint stuff, they're gonna find it mostly in the stores. Everything else, yeah, is gonna be like more of an online base for us. Everything's the second part of that.
Yep. And to answer your question around like the POS system and supporting multiple locations, we did announce at our seller gathering that we are looking to rebuild our POS system, looking to put more focus into inventory management. So that is definite feedback that I can take back to our engineering team and make sure that that is right in front of them while they're developing it.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep.
Right over here. Oh, sorry. Yes, you, but this gentleman behind you first because he had his hand up.
Thank you. We have a Roka 1000, and we have a huge bottleneck between getting cards out of the sorter in the CSV, pulling them into binder, and then getting them we have them sorted in big 3,200 count gray bins, set and alphabetically. So I have 10,000 cards waiting to go into the gray bins. How are you organizing them? Do you go by set bin name? Are you doing
Yeah, so mostly we go by price SIF, set name. Sometimes we'll do name set if it's the same set because sometimes it has trouble distinguishing, especially if you're doing like,
M11?
yeah, M11, 12, 13, like it can't read the M's, you know what I mean? It's just like a blind person, for those of you not of a certain age, Mr. Magoo trying to read them. So we'll do name then set because even if it gets a set wrong, in QuickList we can adjust it and put it there. In terms of something like binder, we don't do that. We run everything through kiosk and then just in Shopify just have it as a custom transaction. So I'm not sure what that part is like. But for us, yeah, like once it's conditioned, then it's real easy. We just get it price SIF sorted, it goes to the stores, they integrate it, and then we upload it once it's sorted in.
So at your store level,
Yes.
so you have X amount of cards that are in the store's inventory.
Yes.
Brick and mortar. How are you keeping those in inventory? What POS are you using?
No, so they're uploaded to their own TCG Player account that is accessible through kiosk. So the customer comes in, they use a pad. This started actually because we didn't want people touching the cards during the pandemic, but it worked so well we just kept it. And so, yeah, so they come in, they do that, it spits out something that's very easy for our employees to just go and grab the cards. Most people don't buy like 20, 30 cards at a time. Those who do online,
Yeah, come to my store. Yeah, we're getting.
no, they.
Don't pull these 150.
So most of that happens to us online. So that they're able to do before or after the shift, or we have somebody from our warehouse come and do it. But if, let's say a customer does, they put together like 30 cards, then they're really, really cool about like holding out because they understand what they put together. We haven't had anybody complain. Maybe it's a thing that'll happen now that I've said that out loud into a microphone. But as of right now, when someone's put together like 20, 30 cards, they're cool about it. They wait. And again, our system's set up that it's really easy to just go in and grab. We just print out the list. And we put everything alphabetically. We don't do reverse set order because God help you and bless you if you know how to do all of that. So, but yeah, that's what we do there. So, over here, and then I want to get that guy if I can.
Okay, we got we got a little bit of time for one more or two more.
Okay. There's two more questions. Let's try to move quickly through here. You're all pointing different places here. So, this right over here. Oh, code guy. Oh yeah.
I'm guessing that's what some people are interested about too. So.
It's money.
The code for you guys? 9705. 9705.
Let me. Thank you. 9705. Your headlights are on. All right. So real quick, just let me say this before you answer the last couple questions. Thank you all. Y'all are like my folks. I got someone from my hometown right there. So yeah, but let's get to the last couple questions. We had one over here, we'll go over there. And then anybody else, please feel free to see me afterwards. I'll be in the hallway, I'll answer any questions. I got my wife luckily going to the next seminar, so we're still good. All right, what was your question over here real quick?
You have a couple of Roka machines, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys implemented any kind of system where you allow people to, not them use it, but they give you their collection to get kind of like a
So we actually have, the questions about whether or not we do anything for our customers using the machines. We have so much inventory ourselves to go through still. We're gonna open that up. Yu-Gi-Oh probably because we've run out of most Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, but yeah, but we do. Yeah, so there's someone who does over there. All right. Atlantis, what do you got for him? What's your question? So the interface, they supply you with a pad that allows you to set it up, and then it'll spit out a CSV to whatever email or emails you designate, and then you can tailor them to however you want to upload them. We have ours set up to go to TCG Player. We upload it to QuickList actually, not Direct, so we can tinker with it a lot easier. And
Real quick.
Okay.
So I know you said that there's issues differentiating sets, like the name sets, right? What's your goal error rate running into with this?
all right, last question. It's about the robot's accuracy. You can set it to be either conservative, so it's very, very picky and will direct out a lot of cards, or what's the loose one?
Which one?
Standard and best guess.
Best guess.
There we go.
Best guess. We use best guess when we're just doing a price sift or a regular sift. Everything else we actually do conservative. Thank you all very much. I really
right.
appreciate your time.
All right, thank you. Take care, everyone. Have a good